Hi, I'm Michael Ruescher at Telsa Motors for the 100-year Centennial celebration of the Chamber of Commerce in Palo Alto. And I'm sitting here with Shaun Phillips, who is in charge of a dealership in Washington, D.C. on K Street. If you don't know what K Street is, it's the street where all the most important lobbyists go to try to influence the federal government in their decision making. So, Shaun, it's good to have you.
Thanks for having me.
I see a magnificent facility here and a lot of potential. What is Tesla doing here in Palo Alto?
We're doing many things that any great Silicon Valley company does. Palo Alto really is right at the heart of Silicon Valley. With access, so I'm a Stanford University graduate myself. You get some of the best minds in the world coming out of Stanford and Berkeley. Our CTO, Chief Technology Officer, JB, is out there right now. He's a Stanford grad, so it's really a great place to be, not only because the university's nearby, but also just the entire Silicon Valley mindset. Now, most people don't normally associate that with cars and car manufacturers, but we're really throwing the model out the window, so to speak, when it comes to our business model and how we go out making cars. So Palo Alto is really the perfect home for us.
So this is not your average car.
It's really not. It's problematic because it has four wheels, it has a steering wheel. I have trouble even calling it a car myself. It's much more like a laptop or a cell phone or even a spaceship on wheels. It's an entirely different mindset as far as the technology is from what a typical car would be.
Spaceship. That's an interesting idea. I think
it drives just like one.
Yeah. And I think an appropriate one. I've actually yet to take a ride on one. I've driven an electric RAV4, but not the Telsa Motor yet. I'm looking forward to the Roadster. So, what makes Palo Alto the place other than having, as you mentioned, sort of the intellectual capital that you already mentioned? Is there any other aspects to this area that makes it?
I think there's a few. I mean, obviously, why we're even in America to begin with, there's some reasons such as we're an American car company. We're not coming out of Japan, not out of Germany. We really are an American car company, so we wanted to be in the U.S. And then you look at the areas of the country that are not only innovation centers, but also that have some wealth around them because we are a high-end product. This is a over $100,000 car. Our next car, less than half that price point, but still at $50-something thousand, is an expensive product. And Palo Alto is obviously a center of wealth in the U.S., so that's a good reason to be here. It's also hard to argue against the weather we get here. I mean, one of the reasons why I came to school out at Stanford was it's one of the nicest places to live in the country. So there's really a synergy between intellectual capital and the wealth to sustain our product and its general quality of living that allows you to attract talent to come work for a company headquartered in a city like this.
Absolutely. So we have that beautiful climate, and that actually brings me to an interesting point, is that we are living in a time where we are faced with a changing climate.
Absolutely.
Thanks to, well, you probably know all about that, since it's largely what your product is replacing here, but the fossil fuel powered transportation system that we find ourselves in. And I mean, if you look at this picture, I notice in the background there, we've got wind turbines.
And it's great. It's the only car in the world right now that you could plug it in to wind power, and you can drive for 245 miles on 100% wind energy if you plug it into the right spot. So really, the sky's the limit on where our technology can go. And another reason, again, going back to why we're in even California, is California seems to get it. It's a state of early adopters, Palo Alto even more so than the rest of the state. This really is the epicenter of well-educated, intelligent, tech-savvy, environmentally friendly people. And so you surround yourself with people who support you, and then you grow out from there. So my experiences in Washington, D.C. so far, generally environmentally conscious, not quite as early adopter as far as the tech-savvy goes. So really, people in California, especially Northern California, should appreciate what they have. Palo Alto is a very special place, and you're surrounded by people who, as we like to say, who really get it, who get what Tesla's all about and get why it's important, what our mission is. And now we need to spread that to the rest of the country and the rest of the world.
So actually, what is your mission, technically?
Our mission, so the basic motto you see on the website is uncompromised all-electric vehicles. Now, the mission with any company is, of course, to become profitable. That allows you to continue on, but really that's kind of a self-fulfilling mission, because you become profitable and you keep going. You really have to have that to continue on. But the overarching mission in my mind, and even as our CEO Elon Musk says, really is electric vehicle proliferation. We want every car in the world to be running off of the electrical infrastructure.
Terrific.
Now, if that's coming from Tesla, all the better, but really we love influencing other companies. So our partnerships with Daimler, with Toyota,
Yes.
even inspiring GM and Nissan, who we haven't partnered with, but the cars they're coming out with really are because of what we did. So that's a great feeling. We are trying to change the world one Roadster at a time, one Model S at a time, and every other car after that. And it's a great company to be a part of because of that.
Sticking your neck out.
It really is. Somebody had to take the leap of faith. Someone had to take the risk of doing a successful electric car program that, it wasn't the kind of thing where we put the cars out for a little bit and pull them back in as a trial run. We sold highway legal electric vehicles that everyone wants. Not everybody can afford it yet. We're making it so that everybody can afford it. And eventually, we're going to have vehicles that everyone wants and almost everyone can afford. And that's when you really see the change come about.
So I think about this a lot. So this sort of tipping point that you're getting at, there has to be, there's the trends, right? We can't get away from it. Gasoline is getting exhausted and getting more and more expensive as a result of that. I've been watching the oil price, and we're above 80 now bucks again. That's people, and then we've got climate change, and I think slowly but surely I think we had a record heat in Palo Alto in over 100 years yesterday.
So other places, as soon as I moved to Washington D.C., we had 105-degree heat. I was holding test drive events, and the thermometer on my Roadster was telling me 118, coming, radiating from the road heat. But then, last winter in Washington D.C. was covered in snow. So we're seeing climate fluctuations, and whether or not, even if you don't subscribe to global warming, you cannot argue with pollution's not a good thing.
Exactly.
Go down to LA, the smog, no one
gosh.
likes that.
Yeah.
No one likes the thought of damaging the environment for themselves, for their children, for the future generations, not to mention getting away from foreign oil. There are so many reasons why our technology makes sense, the least of which is that it's just more fun also. So there's really, there's a big picture, there's a local picture, there's you and your steering wheel having a blast. There's really no reason not to go towards what we're doing.
Exactly. I think about that all the time. I biked through San Francisco last week or so to go to the Hardly Strictly Bluegrass Festival, and I biked through the entire city, and I was thinking, gosh, one of these days I'm not going to be just huffing in all this exhaust.
It's strange. So I'll be driving in my Roadster in Washington, D.C., and I'll get overcome not only by the noise, but with the fumes of cars around me. It makes me want to gag. It really is like being the only non-smoker in a room of smokers. The world is full of people on this technology that is dangerous to themselves, to those around them. There's so many reasons why it really is to drive these cars around. You get your eyes open to things you didn't even notice before. Really, before our cars came out, people weren't sitting there thinking, oh, look, my car is so smelly and loud and noisy, but now in comparison it really is. So we're trying to spread the word and open everyone's eyes to go all electric.
That's actually another really interesting point. I can relate to that on a very different level in terms of dietary choices and lifestyle choices, but that's a whole other story for another
Sounds
day.
like it.
Yeah, it's been great talking to you, Dan, and I guess my last question would be peering into your crystal ball here. Okay, when does this tipping point happen where, not only Tesla leading the charge, but all the other guys, it seems like they're jumping on board. And I keep on this electric car buzz. I keep my finger on the pulse, and I see a lot of announcements being made for sort of 2012. We're going to have a model out, and it seems to me like there's just going to be tons of models out.
It's ironic. So that move that came out recently, 2012, was proposed by some ancient people as the end of the world. It really is the beginning of the world in our mind, because 2012, when that Model S sedan comes out at a price point that's more affordable for many more people, but also at a volume. So 20,000 cars instead of 1,000 or 2,000, and then by then all these other companies. So Toyota's trying to have the electric RAV4. We're making with them out by then.
Yeah.
And Daimler's already putting the A-Class Mercedes in Europe by then. So there's really, in the next 12, 24 months, you're going to see a lot of players come to the table, and then it's just a matter of together making that push across the game board, across the table, and pushing gas cars out of the picture. So it'll take a while. It's an uphill battle, but we have a lot of power behind us now.
It's going to be epic.
It is. I'm excited to play a part in it.
Shaun, it's been great talking to you.
You too.
Thanks.